In the day 4 notes, we're going to talk about x-intercepts and y-intercepts. If you take a look up here at the top about an x-intercept is the point that crosses the x-axis, and our y-intercept is the point that crosses the y-axis. So let me draw you a quick little graph just to take a look at it. If this is my x and y-axis, so here's y and here's x. If I were to draw a line, let's say this is the line that I'm looking at, my x-intercept is going to be this point right here that's on the x-axis. My y-intercept would be this point right here that's on my y-axis. So what I want you to start thinking about is what happens on my x-axis. If I'm looking at any point that crosses over the x-axis, which is an x-intercept, what do I know about y? Well, if you take a look at any point that crosses the x-axis, my y is always going to be 0, since it's not going anywhere up or down. Similarly, if I take a look at my y-intercept, which would be this point right here, this is where it's crossing over the y-axis. Any point that I get on the y-axis, what do I know about x? Well, on the y-axis, I know my x is going to be 0 because I'm not going anywhere left or right. So those two ideas are what we're going to use in order to find our intercepts in the next example. So if I take a look at example 1, I want to find the x-intercept and the y-intercept from the equation 3x minus 6y equal to 18. So basically what I'm doing is I want to find out where is it crossing the x-axis and where is it crossing the y-axis. So let's start with the x-intercept. And if I want to find the x-intercept, I'm going to remember that an x-intercept is when y is equal to 0. So when I'm on the x-axis, my y value is 0. So all I have to do in my equation is replace y with 0. So I have 3x minus 6, I'm replacing that y with 0, and that's equal to 18. Well, 6 times 0 is just 0, so I get 3x equal to 18. And if I solve for x, I need to divide both sides by 3. And I get x is equal to 6. If I write that as an ordered pair, if I were to graph it, this would be the point 6, 0. Remember, x is always first, y is always second. Now if I want to find the y-intercept, what do I know about x? My y-intercept, I now know that x is equal to 0. So whenever I'm on the y-axis, my x value is always going to be 0. So if I plug in, I'm going to have 3. Now this time I'm going to plug my 0 in for x minus 6y equal to 18. Then if I go ahead and solve, I know that 3 times 0 is just going to be 0. So I'm left with negative 6y equal to 18. Dividing both sides by negative 6, I get y equal to negative 3. And if I write that as an ordered pair, x always comes first. My x was 0. My y was negative 3. So here's my y-intercept. That is where it's going to cross over the y-axis. There are 2 try this for you to take a look at. So go ahead and pause it and then unpause it to check your answers. If you did the try this correctly, number 1, finding the y-intercept should be the point 0, 7. And number 2, finding the x-intercept, you could have it as a fraction or a decimal. So you can have negative 3 over 5, 0. Or you could have written it as negative 0.6, 0. If you have any questions on either one of these, please let me know.